Welcome back to trail, everybody. We are heading out of Great Barrington. Was so excited to get into town that I didn't make an outro for the last video, so that's why it kind of just ends awkwardly where it did. I'm trying to find, where is there some sun for me? There we go. So a little bit of a surprise. Well, not really a surprise, but I had been promising Popeye was going to come back, and there he is. So we got the full crew back finally. It's a very good day. We're going to do 6.5 out to Tom Leonard's shelter and then hang out in the Ice Gulch. So glad you guys come along. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment and a like, and hope you guys enjoy the section. We are gonna have a good day. Probably gonna get to Hanover, New Hampshire on June 26th. It is June 15th today, so I think it's 12 days. And we got a lot of cool stuff along the way. Mount Greylock, first 4K, Mount Killington, stop at Rutland, and it's 110 miles of the long trail we're gonna get to hike on. So really cool section, and then after that, New Hampshire and the Whites and the fun, glorious views that exist up there. So see you guys down the trail. Morning and welcome back to trail. We just headed out of Tom Leonard's shelter and are heading to Upper Goose Pond Cabin, where this is like a iconic stop on the AT. There's a caretaker who makes breakfast for hikers, and this is a really cool big shelter on the shores of a lake, so should be a pretty cool night. We are expecting rain in about a half hour, so I'm all ready for that. You can see it's kind of dreary this morning, and it is significantly cooler. So about 21.5 miles, I think, or thereabouts, to get to Upper Goose Pond Cabin, and then we will be heading north from there. I'm trying to think. Oh, right now we're going through Ice Gulch, which is a very narrow and deep gulch that used to have ice well into the summer, but it's already melted, and comments going back several years indicate that this time of year it's always melted out. So yay, climate change. Anyway, we are going to have a good day. The cool temps should help like get the hiking miles in very quickly, and be a welcome change from the high humidity, high temperatures that we've had for the last few weeks. Got my sleeves rolled down for the first time ever, I think, with this shirt on, so a little bit chillier than typical, so enjoying it for sure. And I think we'll hit a couple of fun stuff. I don't know, we'll figure out what happens later on in the trail, and pop back in when something cool happens. So I'll see you guys up there. Good morning from Upper Goose Pond Shelter. You can kind of see through the trees there is Upper Goose, or I don't know which pond that is. But here is the cabin that we stayed at last night. And they're inside right now about pancake time right now. I'm not going to get pancakes. I had my normal breakfast, wanted to get some weight out of my pack, and I'm just gonna head out of town right now. I think Black Paw's already head out.
You think so?
I don't see any of his. I didn't see his stuff, but I didn't see him leave either.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you guys up there.
Yeah, see ya.
All right, so we're gonna go 25 miles today, and along the way we're gonna hit, it's basically one big ridgeline. So we're gonna go down off of this little high spot that we're on now, cross over I-90, and then for pretty much the rest of the day we'll be on top of a ridgeline after we climb up and get to, I think it's Cheshire or Cheshire. I don't know how to pronounce it in the Massachusetts fashion, but that will be a couple miles before, I think 4 or 5 miles before we end today. And we just go back up to a camp spot that we'll spend the night at. And then hopefully the thunderstorms that they're predicting are not going to happen, because they didn't happen yesterday. I'm kind of hoping that we get lucky again. Well, they probably did happen, we just missed them. And hoping that that luck continues. Either way, they're not forecasted to be going on past the middle of the day, so we'll be able to camp out of the rain. Whether or not it's dry is another question, but I don't think it'll be a problem. Anyway, appreciate y'all coming along today, and we'll see you up the trail. So we didn't get caught in the rain, but very obviously just rained here. You can hear all the drops coming down from the leaves because the wind's blowing them off. Glad that we missed it. Nice little view up here. You're supposed to be able to see Greylock to the north, but it's still pretty far off, I think. I think it's the rise right in the middle. It's the first 3,000 peak we hit, 3,000 foot peak we hit since Shenandoah. Well, that was Warner Hill. All right, let's get after it. On into Dalton. We are, is it day 2? It can't be day 2. It's day 3 out of Great Barrington. Say that. No, day 4. Yeah, because we did we did a short day, a 21 and a 25. So we're on 25, number 3, or number 2 of 3. And just resupplied in Cheshire, Mass, heading towards Greylock. It's about 7.5 miles from here. And then we're gonna go down the other side, head up to Vermont. We'll hit the 1600 mark right before we get to the border, and then a few miles after that is the first shelter on the long trail where we're going to be spending the night. So we're going to finish Massachusetts today and cross off stayed 11 from the list. So far so good in this section. I cowboy camped last night because didn't really feel like setting up my tent. Got in a little bit later than what I would have otherwise liked, 7:30 or so. Took the day slow. There's a lot of trail magic out there yesterday, so we kind of just enjoyed it. And then rained really briefly this morning when we were eating breakfast. Fortunately, Popeye was still in his tent, so he didn't have the rain fly over him, only partway. So he probably got his sleeping bag a little wet, and his tent was definitely wet this morning when he would have packed it up, assuming he's out. Black Paws left the campsite at 6:30 and he was still in his tent. Anyway, he's a big boy, he'll make it. We are, oh, that was the other thing. I was like, no, there was something that I wanted to say. So back in the day, I forgot where it was this exactly happened, but like Popeye gets new shoes delivered to a post office, and he's super excited about it. He's standing out there with Kick, and he holds his two shoes up in triumph, and somebody like walks up to him and like, oh, you must be a thru hiker, here, and just hands him like $50. It's like, I've never seen that happen before. Like, just people giving a thru hiker money just for no reason other than they're a thru hiker. Usually it's like food or drink or a ride or something like that. So I'm sitting outside the Dollar General that we resupplied at, and this guy gets out of his car, starts talking to me. His sister's hiked the trail like 3 times. He's saving up money to do it, and goes in and buys his stuff, comes back out, just hands me $20. Really, really appreciate that. Like, the trail angels out here are amazing. If you ever get worried about like, are there any good people left in the world? Come out here and hike for a minute. There are tons of good people out here. And it just like seems that everyone gets caught in their bubble in the real world and doesn't have time to like be a human. But when you're walking 2,200 miles and people know that's what you're doing, you kind of like get pulled out of that societal, like, cold-hearted callousness, I think. Anyway, really appreciative of all trail angels and anybody that helps out hikers on the trail. I want to let you know that we all appreciate it extremely much, even though sometimes we might be a little bit tired and cranky and don't necessarily express it as well as we could. That was not the case with me today, but there's been certainly some times where I've been in a fouler mood than was probably warranted. Anyway, I won't talk about that. I will see you guys up the trail. I was wondering where this cabin was. I've always seen it in my pictures. We're almost to the top of Mount Greylock. It's been a delightful day so far. Temperatures in the 50s has made it super easy to make great time today. This is just a cool little spot. A little alpine lake. A bit cloudy up here, but there's the tower. I think I missed some trail magic hot dogs, which I've been craving for trail magic this entire trail. Kind of miffed about it, but I'd already passed it uphill. I wasn't going to climb twice. I don't do that. So we're gonna come down here. Alright. I'm gonna try and find Captain Frost and then have lunch. And we've hit 1600. Kind of snuck up on me. It's behind this boulder I'm standing on. But pretty beautiful. I'm less than a mile, but a little bit more than a half mile away from the Vermont border. So, very last of Mass. And here we are, about to walk into Vermont and onto the long trail. Here we go. Hey everybody, so we are at Split Rock. Could you tell? Not sure how long this battery is going to last. The cold temperatures the last couple of days, especially overnight, has made it hard to record anything today. But it should be warming up. We are heading to Glastonbury Peak right now. Just got some more trail magic. Happy Father's Day to my dad. And even though this is going to air nowhere near Father's Day, today is Father's Day. And it's a pretty crappy night. Got into the shelter area. I knew it would be full, but it kind of just misted all night to where like it wasn't raining so much as it was collecting and the leaves, and then the wind would come, which is pretty constant, and blow it down in like big waves. So it was just enough to be a problem. And set up in the wet. Realized I left my spoon at Upper Goose Pond Shelter, so I couldn't eat dinner. Had to eat a bunch of snacks instead. So I'll make that up tonight. But yeah, got an opportunity down to the last parking lot where the trail magic was to dry out all my things. Pack feels a lot lighter because of it. And we're about to get to a more mellow part of the climb. So glad I could do the intro for today. Oh man, this breeze is incredible. I love hiking in this weather. It's just the rain last night made it a little bit more unpleasant than it needed to be. I was also kind of bummed that like the place was full, the shelter and all the campsites around it, and everyone was in bed because of the rain. Even the people in the shelter were like asleep, so I couldn't even like talk to any of the newbies. But anyway, I'll stop rambling. It's already been like 3 minutes, which is way too long. So see you guys up the trail. Top of Bromley Mountain and at the top of the ski lifts that are here. Still very chilly here in Vermont. I thought I'd get you guys a nice little view since we're finally getting them again of like actual mountain stuff. See, that's super cool. We are changing up our plan today. We're not going to probably go as far as we had originally planned. And instead of doing like 2 real short days tomorrow, we're just going to do like 3 middle of the road days, like 3 19-mile days, or 2 18s and a 19, I guess. Try and avoid some of the crowds that have been plaguing this leg with all the long trailers out The shelters have been quite full, just like the beginning of the AT was, and we're hoping to get to the shelter early before everyone else does. Well, everyone at the shelter we were at yesterday, I think, is going to go past where we're going, and then that would hopefully help us get there before the next bubble of people, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, heading down back into the forest. Buddy, we had a little bit of a rainy night, but all of us were in the shelter, so stayed dry. And then this morning it had stopped raining. Not really that bad, kind of like a light sprinkle all day, but what ends up happening is it accumulates on the leaves, so when the wind comes through, all of a sudden you get a big dump of water that falls down on you. But as you can see, this forest is absolutely stunning. The birds are singing and we are cruising. We've done a bunch of rework to our plan. So yesterday was hike naked day. We all had fun. And then today we're gonna do 18.5. We did 17.5 yesterday. And tomorrow I think we're doing 16 or 17.5. I forget which. Anyway, the plan was to go a little bit further originally to get to Rutland from Vermont 100 and like the far point of the trails crossing. But because we slowed down the last couple of days, we did 100 miles in 4 days. So we're all feeling it a little bit. We're gonna adjust the mileage, kind of even it out a little bit day to day. And then we're gonna try and do Rutland to Hanover in 2 days. So it'll be at least a 19.5 to the shelter our day out of Rutland, and then we're going to push as far as we can to set ourselves up for as few miles into Hanover the next day as possible. And that's going to get us our last zero of the trail in Hanover and provide Popeye and Captain Frost with plenty of time to see all their friends and family that are coming out to visit now that we're going to be crossing into New Hampshire territory. So that's the update for the day. We don't have a ton of elevation. I don't remember if we're going over any specific mountains. We're going to be going through the rock gardens in a little bit and Little Rock Pond soon. So I will we'll see you guys up the trail when we're over at Little Rock Pond. Enchanting Woods of Vermont, and we are heading into Rutland today. About 16.5 miles. We're going to hit the 500 miles to Katahdin mark, then the 1700 mile mark, and then we're going to get over our first 4K. We don't actually go to the summit of Killington on the trail, but it's our first New England 4K that we're going to be climbing over. So we'll get Killington, oops, a little bit slippery rocks, and then get to Rutland right after that. So thanks for coming along this section, and catch you up the trail. Maybe they're gonna get there and like turn around expecting us to be right behind them, and we won't even be close. Black Paws is a good ways behind me, but this is the last of the section of, I guess, Great Barrington to Hanover, both basically the states of Massachusetts and Vermont, and the boys are home. They hiked from Georgia back to their home state. So if I can get this to work, there we go. Appreciate you guys coming along, and hope you enjoyed this section. A little bit wonky camera and inconsistent filming at times, but you know, we'll make it work and hopefully get better over time. But I really appreciate it, and sure I don't get run over crossing the street. And don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have a comment or a question, drop it in the comment section below, and look forward to seeing you guys on the next stretch as we go through the whites. See you guys up the trail.